Instead, he felt pressured by Jay and others to live up to the persona he had cultivated in his music. Yes, it was true that Prodigy's mother ran a ballet studio and that he used to take classes there. What was so embarrassing about that? He had a mother who raised him in the arts. He was cultured.
And Jay-Z was part of that community, the Dr. York community, you know what I mean? And he had learned all that information that York was putting out, for lack of a better term. He's chosen a side, you know what I mean? And the side that he chose is money, power, and, he doesn't really care to spread any type of information that might help save somebody's soul. You know what I'm saying?
All right, Prodigy. Now they have listed his official cause of death, and that cause of death is accidental choking. Apparently, he really did choke on an egg while he was in a hospital in Vegas.
And now, like, I talked to Noriega this morning, he was like, okay, I realized this.
50 Cent has finally broken his silence on one of hip-hop's most puzzling tragedies: the passing of legendary Mobb Deep rapper Prodigy. Contrary to the official explanation that Prodigy choked on an egg, 50 is now casting doubt on that account, labeling it suspicious. Word is spreading that 50 may even be working on a documentary that could completely change how we understand what happened. See Prodigy.wasn just known for his music. He also stood out for being outspoken. Before his death, he published an open letter accusing Jay-Z of aligning with the Illuminati and selling his soul. He was also developing a musical that aimed to expose the far-reaching influence of elite powers within the hip-hop industry. Unfortunately, he died before that vision came to light. While Jay-Z often seemed to dismiss Prodigy and mock Prodigy's more artistic and intellectual side, 50 Cent consistently supported him. He encouraged Prodigy to move beyond gangster rap and use his music to convey deeper truths. What exactly has 50 said since Prodigy's unexpected death? Why is he questioning the official version now? And is he really about to unveil information that major industry figures, possibly including Jay-Z, would rather keep hidden? Let's examine the full picture.
It was on, and he was getting dissed. Him and Nas. Mobb Deep and Biggie were the only ones from New York active in that situation. So Jay-Z is for making that quote in his lyrics.
There have been rumors recently that 50 Cent is considering telling the whole hidden narrative of Prodigy's passing. It is said to go well beyond what the general public has been informed. According to people familiar with the matter, 50 has been covertly working on a project that more details on the Prodigy's death. Furthermore, it doesn't seem like a publicity stunt. 50 and Prodigy have a sincere regard for one another. After 50 introduced Mobb close to the G-Unit family in 2005, their bond grew stronger. As a token of appreciation for their skill, 50 gave both members a Porsche upon their arrival at the label.
Knocked out so much music before even inking the deal. He wanted people to see us with the cars and know we were signing a G-Unit. I didn't know what to say. 50 was giving us 2 Porsches. I just said thanks. As soon as I got up off the phone with him, I raced back to the studio to tell Havoc what 50 told me not to tell him. Just like 50, I couldn't hold it in. Hav was hype. The one-of-a-kind special order Porsches will be delivered in a week. Do you know how to drive stick shift? 50 asked. No, I said.
Prodigy frequently praised 50. In a 2012 interview with Vlad TV, stated that, in his opinion, 50 could do no wrong.
50, that's my boy right there, man. He can't do no wrong in my eyes. Over G-Unit, 50, Banks, Yayo, all of them. Those are our brothers, you know what I mean? From Queens, like we all grew up in the same neighborhoods. We got friends in common. It's crazy how, we never really grew up together, but the people that he know is the same people that I know and I grew up with. So it was just like meant to be for us to do that deal with them when it happened.
According to reports, Prodigy was among the few people who were permitted to visit 50 Cent in the hospital after he was shot 9 times. Outside his grandmother's Queens home in May 2000, when Prodigy was arrested in 2006. Police allegedly attempted to convince him to turn 50, but Prodigy remained faithful until the very end.
Those questions, they say, yo, look, really, we just want to know about 50 Cent. You know, we know you down with G Unit. We want something on 50. If you can help us get something with 50, we let you walk right now. So I'm like, what? So, you know, my mind, you know, I snap it to strategic thinking. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm thinking strategic. Now I want to hear more I want to hear how far these people are willing to take this. So now I start acting like I'm willing to help them, right? And I start saying things like, I put my head down like this. Can I get a cigarette? You know what I'm saying? I start doing things like that, and they start thinking like, oh yeah, he's thinking about it. You know what I mean? So now I'm getting them to talk. Now they talking. Now they like, yo, listen, maybe, you know, does 50 use drugs? Does he buy drugs? Does he do anything illegal? Does he sell guns? So now I'm just like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So now they like, well, would you be willing maybe, does he let you in his car? Does he let you in his house? Would you be willing maybe to drop some drugs in his car? Or maybe drop a gun in his car and then give us a call? I'm like, wow. I'm like, yo, these people was ill, right? So I'm like, I'm sitting there acting like I'm thinking about it. I'm like, I don't know. Can I get another cigarette? You know what I'm saying? So I'm playing it like that, right? I'm being strategic, right? Because I'm a smart nigga, you know what I'm saying? So they just yapping away. And I'm seeing they really want to set this dude up. They have no they can't, you know, they want to do it because 50 don't do nothing. He's strictly business. He don't around, you know what I'm saying? And they mad at that. You know, they want to bring this man down because he's successful, has money, and they never can get no case on him. You know, so at the end of the little 30, 40 minute interrogation, you know, I basically told them, yo, listen, man, they're gonna charge me, you gonna hit me with time, I'll serve my time. I'm not snitching on nobody, I'm not set people up. You know what I mean? I do my time like a man. I'm not a rat. You know what I'm saying? Once they see that, they're like, take his ass back to the set. You know what I mean? Every hour, they would send a new group of detectives to question me. Like, they was probably in the back room, like, oh, let me try, I can give you a crack. No, let me try. All right, you tried once, let me try now. You know what I mean? So they all trying to take their little turns to see which one of them can get me to work with them. The last one was the ATF. You know what I mean? The ATF came, pulled me out my cell, brought me upstairs in the precinct to a conference room this time at a round table. All of them had their ATF jackets on with the yellow, you know, writing on the iron on ATF. The back, they had their badges around their neck. And I'm talking about senior officers, senior, whatever you call them, agents, you know, with gray hair. You could tell they were high up, you know what I mean? And you could tell somebody called these dudes and they came from their houses to come down to do this. So, you know, they tried, you know what I mean? They was asking me to do the same thing. You put something in the car, could you know, maybe get him, we could set up a buying bus where he buy some drugs off you, maybe. I'm just like, wow, these dudes was going hard for this. Like, they really don't like this thing, right? So ultimately, you know, I ain't do nothing. Of course, I ain't work with them or whatever. I'm like, fuck it.
Prodigy and 50 Cent had a sincere friendship. 50 gave a moving speech at Prodigy's burial when he passed away in 2017. He later shared on social media, "I've never spoken at a wake or funeral before, but I felt I had to say something. Rest in peace, Prodigy. May God bless you." In his memoir, 50 also praised Prodigy's education and intelligence, as well as the impact of his mother, who pushed him to pursue the arts. However, the tone darkened when 50 asserted that Jay-Z had enticed Prodigy to create violent, street-focused music while mocking his artistic beginnings.
It's what made him special and would have allowed him to create more significant art. I felt like Prodigy's arts background made him more prepared as a performer than the rest of us. He was a force in the studio, always coming up with new hooks and concepts. I even remember going to his house one day and noticing several movie scripts laying around. "Man, when did you learn how to write scripts?" I asked him. "Oh, I read some book that showed me how to do it," he answered casually. "I've been writing them ever since." That's the kind of ability he possessed. He could pick up a book, digest it, and then start churning out scripts like it was nothing. Most rappers struggle to write 12 bars, let alone a movie. They just didn't have the same artistic tradition to draw from. Instead, he felt pressured by Jay and others to live up to the persona he had cultivated in his music. Yes, it was true that Prodigy's mother ran a ballet studio, and that he used to take classes there. What was so embarrassing about that? He had a
The Illuminati accusations and Prodigy's public criticism of Jay-Z's open letter make it easier to comprehend why Jay would have reportedly attempted to discredit him. In actuality, their conflict began in 1998. Jay released the song Money Cash Hoes that year, which had the lyric, "It's like New York's been soft ever since Snoop came through and crushed the buildings," was a reference to one of Snoop Dogg's New York, New York scenes. Despite being from Long Beach, Snoop was at war with Mobb Deep at the time of the York video, which shows him stomping on New York towers. Since Snoop and Jay-Z have always been pals, many people saw Jay's reference to that incident in his songs as him supporting Snoop and subtly disparaging New York. Notably, Mobb Deep, Prodigy, and a lot of other East Coasters weren't happy about that, while some might have dismissed Jay's line as just another lyric. For Prodigy, it added even more intensity to an already intense East versus West battle. Touched a nerve for him. It was about more than just the music. It was about loyalty, pride in one's territory, and standing up for what was right. In his opinion, Jay failed to appear for New York when it was most important. Prodigy felt that Jay was choosing neutrality rather than taking a stand when he kept out of the fight, while Mobb Deep and Biggie were facing Suge Knight and Death Row Records, taking genuine risks to protect their neighborhood.
And the Source came out. I picked up a copy in the Chicago airport when we landed. The Source put me on the cover, my first magazine cover as a solo artist. In the interview, the writer, Shaheem Reed, asked about my problem with Jay-Z, referencing an online interview in which they asked if I liked Jay-Z. "No, he's a boy. He talk it and don't live it," I said. I elaborated for the Source. Jay-Z has a quote in his song, Money Cash Hoes, where he claims, "New York been soft ever since Snoop came through and crushed the buildings. I'm trying to restore the feeling." But Jay was nowhere to be found when that drama popped off between Mobb Deep, Dogg Pound, Tupac, and Biggie. That was our little personal beef, not a coastal war. Jay-Z ain't had shit to say when it was on, and he was getting dissed. Him and Nas. Mobb Deep and Biggie were the only ones from New York active in that situation. So Jay-Z is a for making that quote in his lyrics. Yeah.
The dispute between Jay-Z and Prodigy was first kept under wraps. However, that drastically altered when Jay dropped the song Takeover, in which he publicly and scathingly disparaged Prodigy. At Summer Jam 2001, things became more heated as Jay-Z tried to publicly humiliate Prodigy by displaying a picture from his early years shows him in dancing clothes at a lesson. Additionally, Jay participated in an unreleased a cappella version of Takeover. Finally, he invited Michael Jackson to the stage to share the limelight, which further enhanced the
live, we the champions, you heard
Michael
it.
Jackson.
We live.
King of rap, the king of pop. Holla.
Turned out crazy. Big event, 20,000.
It's the Rock, you bastards.
As always, you heard? Holla.
Greetings.
We don't do much.
Summer Jam 2001, man. How was it for you, man?
We don't do much.
We right here. Big celebration as always, man.
We don't do much.
That's it. It's a wrap. We out here. Sugar Man, Brooklyn. Oh, yeah. Zab. Okay. Right here. All day.
Jay then related everything to his song.
Triggers the crew. You little fuck, I got money stacks bigger than you. When I was way back in 88, you was a ballerina. I got the picture, I seen you. Switching the meter. Well, we don't believe you. You need more people. Rockefeller, students in the game, be passing classes. Nobody can read you dudes like we do. Don't let them gas you like jigger and ass and won't get at you. Trust me on this one, I'll detach you. Mind from spirit, body from soul. You have to hold a man, put your body in the hole. No, you're not on my level. Get your break sweet. I sold what your whole album sold in my first week. Don't stop. You guys don't want it with hope. Ask Nas, he don't want it with hope.
without a response. Prodigy wasn't going to allow Jay-Z to treat him disrespectfully. He was determined to maintain his position. Some reports even claim that he was packing protection, ready for anything. Jay-Z reportedly stopped attending important industry events like the MTV Awards, Source Awards, and even bed appearances after the Summer Jam incident, presumably to avoid running into Prodigy. Hip-hop Prodigy stated in a 2011 interview that he was prepared for a physical altercation. He clarified that he planned to confront Jay at Diddy's former restaurant, Justin, as soon as he made fun of him with those pictures from the dance class at Summer Jam.
And Justin's hanging out, because like me and about maybe 10, 15 of my boys from the project, we chilling. We just having a good time chilling in Justin's. And I see Queen Pen, rapper Queen Pen is in there, so we dancing, we having a good time.
Jay-Z and Jermaine Dupri eventually left the eatery. However, Jermaine hurried out of the situation as soon as he saw Prodigy and his crew outside. But Jay remained calm. To diffuse the tension, he went up to Prodigy with 2 bodyguards and shook hands. Prodigy acknowledged that he was mentally assessing the scenario and realized how easily it might have gone in another direction. But he decided not to escalate after giving the gesture some thought and instead to keep the attention on the music.
I hear the DJ say, yo, shout out to Jay-Z and Jermaine Dupri in the house. You know what I mean? So I'm like, we've been in here for like 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? Justin's is real small. So it's like, where they at? I ain't see them. So now we all looking at me and my boys all looking at each other like, you heard that? So now we looking for him in the club. We like, where he at? So we can't find him. So we like, all right, cool. What we did was we lined up, we surrounded the front. Because there's only one way in and one way out of Justin's. We surrounded the front door. So he couldn't get out without seeing us. So I'm standing there waiting to see him. And finally he comes from like back somewhere, I don't know where he was at. And him and Jermaine Dupri come walking. Jermaine see us and he was out, he just left. So then Jay standing there with 2 bodyguards approaching us. So from a distance, probably from where that camera's at right there, he puts his hand out like this and comes walking up to me like this to shake my hand, right? So I'm looking at him like, this dude, like I could just really just feel him like a rag doll right now, like for real. So whatever, I shook his hand. What's up, man? He's like, yo, listen, there ain't no beef. It's just music. Let's just keep it just music. There's no problem, son. I just wish you would've came and told me that, how you felt to my face instead of putting it in the magazine. He's like, all right, that's cool, you know what I mean? There ain't no beef. We can keep it just music. That's what's up, you know what I mean? And I thought about it real quick, because I'm thinking about like how I could just really overpower him right now. You know what I mean? With the security and all that. You know what I mean? And
because somebody was talking about shooting him.
Yeah, I mean, to tell the truth, my man had a gun on him in the club.
However, Prodigy and Jay-Z's conflict didn't stop there. When Prodigy started discussing the Illuminati in public and asserted that Jay was aware of strong, covert forces influencing the music business, things became more heated. Prodigy penned an open letter to Jay-Z in 2007 while incarcerated for illegal firearm possession, making audacious claims and raising the possibility that Jay was a member of a secret organization. In that letter, Prodigy how? In 1996, he had a revelation that led him to recognize a deeper system at work in society at large, as well as in music. He argued that most of what people take for granted, whether in politics, religion, the government, or the financial sector, is false. Prodigy said, the government, religions, politics, the federal are a joke. He then focused on Jay-Z, saying that although Jay was aware of the truth, he remained silent. Prodigy Jay claims that in order to get favor in the business world, he sided with the opposition. He wrote, Jay-Z is aware of the truth, but he sided with evil to gain acceptance in the corporate world. Jay-Z keeps the truth from blackpeople.community and the globe, and instead encourages the beast's way of existence. Prodigy promised to keep exposing Jay-Z, the Illuminati, and what he perceived to be worldwide corruption until the day he was unable to speak anymore. He stated, I fear nothing and no one. I'm fearless because the truth has freed me from the Illuminati's mental control. And I've been empowered by God and the universe. Although Prodigy had been making references to the Illuminati, many people think he was the one who first brought the topic of the Illuminati into hip-hop culture. For instance, on the 1995 remix of I Shot Y'all with LL Cool J, he rapped the Illuminati's desire for my body, mind, and soul. The secret society is attempting to monitor me, but I'm going to strategically stay in the cog. This is not a theory. Prodigy stated in a song he released later in 2008 with the simple title Illuminati. There is a conspiracy to make people confused. They want to lock me in a padded room with a straitjacket and announce that there are 12 monkeys. However, he continued to speak on the Illuminati after that. Prodigy carried on experimenting with these concepts on his last release, The Hegelian Dialectic. Exactly 5 months prior to his death, on January 20th, the Book of Revelation was released. According to reports, he was also working on a complete musical based on his Illuminati theories at the time of his passing. That project had the potential to be important. But Prodigy never had the opportunity to finish it before passing away on June 20th, 2011. Since Prodigy had fought sickle cell disease for a large portion of his life, most people assumed that complications from the illness were the cause of his death. But the coroner's report later clarified that sickle cell wasn't the cause of death. Instead, said that while in the hospital, Prodigy had unintentionally choked on a boiled egg. This was an odd detail in and of itself, but it became even more problematic when his family sued Spring Valley Medical Center in Las Vegas, according to the lawsuit. The hospital forgot to keep an eye on his oxygen levels and failed to maintain a working line. For many of Prodigy's fans, the official explanation never felt right, even if doctors had given them clear orders. They still believed he was silenced because he came too close to disclosing uncomfortable facts. Furthermore, it wasn't only admirers additionally. Kanye West mentioned Prodigy's passing in an interview with Candace Owens. However, YouTube swiftly took down that interview and Candace was banned from the site for a week. But it goes even farther. Later, Candace went back to Kanye's remarks from her performance and brought up an earlier interview in which Prodigy discussed some apparently disturbing customs among the elite. Looking into Prodigy's earlier tweets, you can see that he frequently provided materials and links for others to check out. For example, he tweeted an item in 2014 warning the UK about claims of PD files and purported voodoo practices. Travel? Prodigy captioned the photo saying, "I told y'all emperors they do exorcisms on kids. Dumb people need to wake the F up." Additionally, he talked about the Illuminati a lot on the internet, saying things like, "I think this is preschool knowledge. It's similar to learning your ABCs." The public is beginning to pay more attention now that all these discussions about Prodigy's plans to expose the shadowy side of the music business and its covert forces are coming up again. There are also rumors that 50 Cent is working on look at the SHO. It's working on a documentary about Prodigy's life and legacy, earlier remarks and convictions. Thus, we would like to hear from you today. Do you think Prodigy was revealing more? And do you think his death has anything to do with his remarks about Jay-Z or his allegations about the Illuminati? Some are even wondering if the official cause of death, choking on an egg, has any symbolic significance. Please share your opinions in the comments section.